Good evening and welcome to the LFC Daytrippers. It is full-time Reds. I'm Matt. That's Kev. We're here after the score finishes Liverpool 1, Leeds 2 in the Premier League. Liverpool's second straight loss in the Premier League to a team that has the least number of points in the league. Well, Kev, we meet again under slightly different circumstances as the last one, but exactly the same as last weekend.
Yeah, it's shite, isn't it? I mean, there's no dressing it up from start to finish. We were outworked, outfought, and we just didn't have answers to the pressure they put us under. And credit to Leeds, they played out of their skin, and Melia had a brilliant game tonight. You know, it was like we had chances, just didn't take them. I think Melia made 9 saves or something tonight, 9 or 10 saves. We had plenty of efforts on target, just couldn't score. So if you don't score, you're giving yourself a problem. And from start to finish, I mean, the game started like a freight train and it never stopped. There was no let up. So, you know, a lot of things that were being papered over, cracks that were being papered over the last few weeks and months were exposed and badly exposed tonight. It was like someone ripped the Band-Aid off of the problems of having an aging squad coming up against a young, aggressive pressing side. You will concede possession in bad areas, and you will be punished for it. And we were.
Yeah, it's becoming a little bit easy to predict, you know, for as optimistic as I will always be going into a game. You know, if I don't think we're going to lose against Man City when we were going into that game, which I didn't, I'm certainly not going to expect us to get turned over by Leeds like that. And I mean, it's certainly what happened. Like, Leeds were just better than us. They had more energy. They were more active. I thought Aronson looked fantastic for them. For a little guy, he really throws his body around. But I guess we should just go through the lineup first because that's how we normally do things around here. Allison in goal, Robertson, Van Dijk, Gomez, Trent, Fabinho, Thiago, Harvey Elliott, Bobby Firmino, Darwin Nunez, and Mo Salah. Pretty much to be expected.
Yeah, arguably as strong as we could have gone. The only argument would have been Henderson over any one of Harvey or Fabinho on form at the minute, but it's a much of a muchness, for what we have available.
Mm-hmm.
It was the lineup. I mean, I didn't see anyone complaining at 6:45 when the lineup came out about any of the players that were picked. The only questions I could see was, how's he going to line this up? You know, is it going to be 4-2-3-1 and match Leeds up? Or is it going to be 4-4-2 diamond like we had against Ajax? That was the only question, and that was answered in the first few minutes. You know, they went with the diamond again, and I said it the other night when we won, and I'll say it again tonight. It's not a system you fall into. That it's just you play this and it works. This kind of system takes a long time to bed in, like any other system when you're playing it. But Leeds were really aggressive right from the off. So much so that within 42 seconds, Salah was one-on-one, forcing mistakes and putting a ball into their box. That's how aggressive they were. They were completely out of shape. And when they got on the attack, they just flocked forward with numbers, and we were out of shape. We didn't know where to be and when to be there. And it was just crazy. There was no structure to any part of the game. And it wasn't until probably half an hour in that we were able to get a foot on the ball and try to bring some kind of order to it. And that was miles off into the first half. But look, I mean, tomorrow, I'll be honest, right? Tomorrow night, the lads are going to go through the game in detail and what have you. But ultimately, this is about the result and the fact that Chelsea dropped points today, and so did we. We dropped points against Forest. That's 6 points dropped now against two sides that you need to be beating.
Yeah. In 2 game weeks where Chelsea have taken 1 point, you'd expect us to take 6 and claw 5 points back on Chelsea and be sitting a lot prettier. But instead, we've absolutely squandered any opportunity we could have had to move up the table and build momentum.
All credit to Leeds, all right, because they haven't won in 8. But I've watched a lot of Leeds this season, and they are definitely in a false position. You can see by tonight, they've been playing like that all season. It's just Melia hasn't been having one of those nights, and they have been gifting up goals that against the run of play, and they couldn't finish their dinner on another night. So tonight, everything came together for them, and they deserve. I don't know if they deserve the 3 points. They definitely deserve something, but look, they got the 3 points, and you wouldn't argue too much against it because they fought right until the end and they got it. We didn't get that break, that lucky break in their box. They did. They took it. We didn't. Is what it is. But it's just crazy that it got to that situation in the first place.
Yeah, you said things, fell for them throughout the game, and they certainly did. Let's talk about the first goal. I mean, the ball goes, over Trent's head into that channel in between Gomez and Trent that every team aims for, because why wouldn't you at this point? It is our weak chin. Like, that's our glass chin on defense. There's no ignoring it or beating around the bush anymore.
Yeah.
Gomez gets over, covers nicely, gets ball position, and then doesn't pick his head up, plays a square ball back to Allison, who slips, and Rodrigo has the easiest goal he'll ever get in the Premier League.
That goal literally just typified our season to date.
Yeah.
If you could wrap our season to date in a 20-second cameo, that was it. Allison didn't need to come. Gomez did everything right. Won the ball, got the ball safe, played the ball back to where his keeper ordinarily would have been, and the keeper slipped.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no coming around on the cover on that. It's just fucking one of those. Did you see before the game when Klopp nearly slipped getting into the dugout? I was like,
I just saw a brief little meme of it or something like that. Yeah. Like, oh no, we can't have Klopp getting injured too.
I just saw that going in. I was like, I said last night when we were on with the lads last night, the last thing you want to do is give these guys something to hold on to. And we did. We gifted it to them. You can blame Gomez for playing the ball. You can blame Allison for coming short. Ultimately, a centre-back in that position is not going to knock it out for a throw-in, especially with the multi-ball system that's going at the minute, because he's out of position, the keeper's out of the goal, and that's just never going to happen. But he had to pick his head up, and he had to make that pass right, and he didn't. Allison slipped at the worst possible time, and in there, 1-0, and fucking madness.
Yeah, our ability to concede the first goal is unrivaled.
Yeah.
At this point. And it's funny about Gomez, because I noted like less than a minute before the goal, he had played a great angled ball up the sideline to Trent, who was pushing, I found to be throughout the game, a lot higher forward than he has been the last few games. It seemed like a tactical switch to try to see if we could get Trent advanced and creating again. And I thought throughout the game, I know a lot of people are probably going to go in on Gomez, thinking he had a terrible game. I didn't think he was horrible defensively. I thought some of his passing tonight was the best I've ever seen from Joe Gomez. He found Trent Alexander-Arnold with 40, 50 yard raking balls from his center half position to Trent in an advanced right wing position a bunch of times throughout the game. It's just, he picked a hell of a time to have an awful pass. And this is like, even when it happened, it was like, okay, that feels like the sort of thing that happens to us this season. But at the same time, of at least once a year, maybe twice a season, you get a goal like that. Like, I think, what was it, last season against Man City, that Allison basically threw the ball into his own net.
Yeah.
Like every season, you're going to get one of those kind of goals. And it's just how you reacted from it. And we didn't react very well. No. I mean, we couldn't get a foothold in the game. Like you said, they were buzzing into tackles. Like, they were obviously choosing to press us high and use their energy. And I was kind of hoping after about a half an hour that maybe as the game wore on, their energy levels would sap. But I mean, in retrospect, that didn't happen at all. You know, they
Yeah,
were happy to keep going.
ultimately, you have to look at the way we were set up with the diamond in midfield. We outnumbered them in midfield. You expect with the play with Thiago in there, you expect a level of control, and we never had it. Now, whether it's a case that like I've seen people in the chat blaming the midfield for not getting control, or having forwards that you could play into, and we didn't have that all night either. It just didn't work. You know, we couldn't get Nunes and Salah into the game, and midfield couldn't keep the ball. It's a recipe for disaster. And the thing is, like I said at the start, that's not a midfield that you wouldn't be uncomfortable with going into any game. And they just couldn't keep it for love nor money. Fabinho, for what you expect of him, being able to break up plays, sense danger, read the game, they were playing around him, you know. Yeah. And Thiago, for all of his brilliance on the ball at times, he doesn't sense danger, and he takes liberties when liberties aren't called for. Harvey was just not at the races, you know. No. And the outballs that we had really were the two fullbacks trying to create width, going on the outside, which I thought they did really well in the main. Robertson and Trent were the outballs, and Robertson more than Trent got higher and was more aggressive. But, you know, when Trent got up as well, it did create a lot of problems. But we just couldn't finish our fucking dinner.
No, it wasn't until about half an hour into the game that Trent hoofs a ball that's kind of bouncing around in midfield over the top for Darwin. It's a great ball, and he can't quite sort his feet out. You know, maybe it should have been a first-time little chip to try to get it over Meslier with his left foot, but just nothing comes of it. And all right, like,
yeah, he tried to go around the keeper. He tried to go around the keeper on the inside instead of shifting it out to his left foot and taking it with his left. He shifted it back into an area where there were players waiting for him. But Meslier did well to come out and force him to make a decision really quickly. But saying that, the ball into him was brilliant. And you expect him, and it's one thing that he does in most of the games that I've watched him, he takes his shot early. So the fact that he waited and almost had a brain fart, it was like, oh, you know, that was the one you needed to shift and hit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just kind of tripped over. I mean, apparently he has the biggest feet in the entire world. So, you know, just kind of couldn't quite get his feet sorted out. Just going to throw up this super chat here we got from Madi Tariq for 20 NOKs. Not entirely sure what those are. He says, let's be honest, this is a fight for top 10. I mean, if you extrapolate out how our results have been, if you presume we're going to be in the same form for all 38 games, then yeah, that might be the case. It's just, I still can't quite see that happening. Like, at some point, and it's the part that's really getting me down about the team over the last, since the season has started, is that it's our core players. It's the guys that we've relied on for the 5 years, with the exception of Allison and maybe Robertson this season. The rest of that spine of the team that, you know, 3 seasons ago, when you're thinking as long as Salah, Fabinho, Van Dijk, Allison, Robertson, Trent are playing, we'll be laughing. You know, we can fill in the gaps around those guys, but as long as those guys are there, you know, Mane as well too, we can't seem to rely on them anymore. No. Like, Trent is having a terrible season. There's no two ways around it. And Virgil van Dijk just does not look like Virgil van Dijk anymore.
I saw a comment on Twitter after the game, and it was from Davo. And Davo isn't one for hot takes or anything like that. And he said, look, this team is done. This squad is done. The race, they've run their race, basically. And it might be the case that, you're waiting for the World Cup. But there's definitely, where there was, over the last 3-4 years, there were sacred cows that you couldn't touch in the squad. There aren't many now. and there's decisions going to have to be made on a lot of players going into this World Cup and beyond, because it was clear, it was so evident today on the basis of that game. They did to us what we did to pretty much every side for the last few years. We outran them. We outworked them. We forced them into mistakes. We forced them into bad decisions in their half of the pitch. And we just don't look like we can do that at the minute. And if it's age, if it's wear and tear in the body, if it's too many Klopp years in their legs, whatever the excuses are, there's only one remedy for this, and they come in transfer windows. And you can't afford to go into transfer windows and sniff at them like we used to and say we don't like to buy in January.
Yeah.
We're not in that position anymore.
Nope.
I mean, it was 1-0. Look, we had the one chance with Darwin. We got the second chance from a scramble from a corner, wasn't it?
Yeah. Where do I got this down here? Oh, yeah, 12 minutes. Robertson plays it to Gomez. He squares it. That can't be possibly right. Bobby dummied it to Darwin. He returns it first time to Firmino, goes out for a corner. Trent loops it to the back post with a cross. Meslier misses it when he comes out for it. Robbo heads it back in. Fabinho just misses the header, and Mo Salah swings home on the volley with his left foot and puts it in and gets the place going again.
12 minutes gone.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, yeah, okay, we're back in there.
Yeah. Yeah, my confidence was fully back up after we took it back to 1-1, just because the nature of the goal of just it being just a freak, stupid, terrible play by the defense of just giving a goal away. I'm like, all right, we're not going to do that twice in a game for sure. So he says with somewhat sarcastic nature. And we just couldn't drive the issue home after that. You know, we had that chance that we talked about where Trent played that first time ball over the top to Darwin. But other than that, I mean, they were strong in defense. You know, we started racking up the corners. There's no doubt about that. We had a pile of corners, and we did not have the delivery that we had last Saturday.
No.
Which
I don't think anyone had a clear header from a set piece all night long that I can remember. I don't know if anyone in the chat can remember, but Bobby did. Bobby had one late on in the game, but I think around the 88th minute. But other than that, there was no whip on the balls coming in. They were all high floaty crosses, almost a case of get something on it, win the second ball, create havoc, and hope.
Yeah,
and it just wasn't there. And like you said, it wasn't from the volume. It wasn't from a lack of effort, because we got into positions to force the corners, but we just couldn't put the right delivery in to make that difference. And for a team that's so strong in set pieces, it's a serious weapon, and we just couldn't do it. It never happened.
Yeah. This comment here, where did it go? From Ryan Kavanaugh. This was my first thoughts at halftime when the halftime whistle went, was I cannot wait for Ibu Kanata to come back into this team. And also Joel Matip. Like, it's at a certain point, there's a few people in the chat before we went on, I saw that we're talking about the need for Van Dijk to, you know, maybe miss a couple of games. You know, the idea of Virgil van Dijk being a liability in our defense, of like, it would just be nice to have somebody to, because I mean, it's been what, 3-4 games in a row that Joe and Virgil have had to go to the well again and again and again.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem for Virgil. And I don't think Virgil's problem
used to be.
Yeah, no, I still don't think his problem is fitness. I don't, because he looks as quick as he's looked in a long time. I don't know if it's arrogance or what it is, but I don't think it's fitness. I don't think his problem is fitness. I think his problem at the minute is, and it all stems back to what's going on in midfield. By the time you remember when we were playing with the 4-3-3, when you had the Mane, Salah, and Firmino, you get through that press, then you have to come through the engine room of the midfield. By the time you come through that, you've worked your nuts off, and then you're in with Virgil and whoever. Didn't matter who was next to him, because by the time that happened, odds are the ball was just, you were just looking for an out. You know, you're looking to make a pass somewhere and making bad decisions. Sides are getting in at us too easy. It was something Carragher mentioned in commentary a few times, that we're too easy to play against. And it's, you know, as hard as it is to say, we are too easy to get at the minute. You know, and it's, a lot of it is probably down to energy in midfield more than anything. You know, there's no press coming from the front, and the three that were in field with Firmino trying to drop in when he could, they just couldn't get to the ball quick enough. They just didn't have the energy or the wherewithal to be able to read the play and what was going on around them, to be able to cut out balls in the right areas. And it just invites pressure. And we were just too easy to get at.
Yeah. And I mean, lots of credit for the guys in the Leeds midfield. You know, like Roca and Tyler Adams did a much better job as a double pivot than, you know, the times that we were functioning with a double pivot than we certainly did with it. Like, and they were very efficient with their passing. Like, they didn't have a ton of passes in our, and Gav put it up in the chat before the show. They had 100 passes in our half and 14 shots on goal. Like, that's a pretty good ratio.
That's
like
what I mean.
One out of every 7 passes ends in a shot on goal. That's,
yeah. They were able to get it in at us too quickly, too easy.
Yeah.
And every which way you look at it, that's usually a quick 1-2 into whoever was playing up front at the time, whether it was Rodrigo or who was playing on the left for them, on the right for them. Sorry,
Crescencio Somerville was on the left.
On the left, and I can't remember, Harrison on the right.
Yeah.
And as soon as they got the ball in, it was look for someone in the middle, look for a cross. They always went far posts with their crosses, and it was a case of, okay, we're here now in the final third, get a shot off, force Alisson to do something. And Alisson did well, you know, more often than not, apart from the slip. He had a decent game. I think it's just so fucking sickening. Do you know what I mean? And it's, the worst of it is, it's not surprising. It's not shocking.
Yeah.
Because
not anymore.
No, but it's,
it might have been the third time.
I think someone put it in the chat earlier on. They just wanted it more, and they just outworked us. It's as simple as that. They just outworked us.
Yeah,
and you can't have that. And if you physically can't keep up to the tempo of the game that's needed, then, you know, you have to get people in who can.
Yep.
And that's just the reality of it. And if that means that players that have given really good service to us over the last 4 or 5 years need to be moved on, then so be it. I'm hanging absolutely none of this tonight or this season so far on the kids. On the likes of Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, any of the rest of them. I'm not hanging any of it.
Fabio Carvalho.
Yeah, this is not on them. It's the senior players that just aren't doing it, and they've not been.
It's the guys, Kev, that already have all the medals.
Yeah,
that's where our issue lies. Not with the young guys that haven't won everything yet. It's the guys that are sitting there looking at their cabinets and they're full of pretty much one of everything you can get, and it's so disappointing. It's so that's the biggest thing for me, is I'm just so disappointed with how badly we're playing, because it was one thing in the first couple weeks of the season of trying to convince yourself that, like, we're just not playing good, and now we're just playing poorly.
Yeah.
Like the winning goal, like, just to jump right to the end of it. The angle that is there to make that pass in is wide open. It's such an easy pass to make.
Yeah.
And everybody in defense is so passive. Everybody's on their heels. Like, it kind of reminded me of the chance that we gave up against Ajax in the first 2 minutes of the game, where it was just an angled pass into the middle of the box, Virgil van Dijk getting pinned by a center forward and not doing anything to win or pressure the ball. And good finish to the kid, gets his toe on it and kind of side foots it into the corner of the net past Alisson, which isn't an easy thing to do. But
Alisson gets close with his hand, but it would have been an unreal save. And the sickener is, at the other end, about a minute beforehand, with a really good chance.
Yeah.
It a really good chance. And we had several really good chances in the second half. And I thought, I mean, there was one where Salah was through and he put Nunes through on the left-hand side. And Melia just was like there.
Yeah.
It wasn't I wouldn't blame Nunes for that. It was a really good save. That was well read by Ilya Melia. But that was the way the night played out. The only real chance, I think, Nunes had a shot from outside the box that curled over. Bobby had a header that was saved on the line that bobbled, but you put that a foot either side of the keeper, let's go.
Yeah.
And we're talking about
good,
winning a game
good strong
2-1
hand from Melia.
Yeah.
You know.
But you're talking about winning a game 2-1 and
Yep.
seeing it out, as opposed to another missed chance, go up the other end, get a ball that just rolls off your shin and you toe poke it into the far corner, because that's the only shot you got. And they're the fine margins of today, because we could have easily had 3 points and we got nothing because we couldn't finish.
Nope.
And for all of the problems that we had throughout the night, we created enough chances to get 3 points tonight. 100% we did. And Leeds, for all of the pressure that they had on us for about 60 minutes, were delighted with a point and were settled in. But they were settled in for a point.
Yep.
And it wasn't until they got that last bit on the counter that was giving us a lease of life. And they took the chance that was presented to them. And credit to them. Absolute credit to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I had it written down at 76 minutes that it seemed like they had started the time-wasting protocols. Players going down to tie their shoes and all this and taking all the time in the world. Okay, here it is. Like,
that's what you do.
We're going to set up for the big last stand. We're at Anfield. We'll nick a late winner and we'll all be happy for an hour after the show and we can have a good time. And then the guys tomorrow night thinking about it, having 24 hours to think about it, will be like, we were actually kind of shit. And we kind of stole that at the end. But it was not to be. It was the exact other way. I mean, shortly after that, Bamford was put in and his first touch was so poor on that. He just seems jinxed to not get his 100th Premier League goal or 100th goal for Leeds.
Can you throw Mush's comment up there? It was just gone back up a sec.
Sure.
Yeah, it's on Klopp and Ward. Klopp confessed it was his fault for not signing a centre midfielder in the summer. We have no engine in midfield. They made a suicidal gamble for Bellingham, and the Champions League could be gone by the end of November. Well, it's not. The Champions League's not gone. We're already through to the next round. But the decision they made not to bring in a midfielder when there isn't a person who's on this podcast or many others, anyone you ask, said we needed at least one in the summer. And for me, I wanted a wide player as well. But it is what it is. We didn't get it. I don't know what Klopp has said in his post matches. I don't know if anyone has seen them. If you have seen them, can you let us know what the comments were? But I mean, the Champions League we can park until
February or something like that.
Yeah, February 14th. It's done. We're already through in that. Oh, yeah, qualification for next season's Champions League. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think so. It's only 2 more Premier League games before the end of November.
But it's not just that. It's not just that, Matt. It's the way we're playing. The fear factor. When I watched City earlier on today with Leicester, right? And Leicester crapped the bed. Yeah, Leicester absolutely crapped the bed until about 70 minutes when they were 1-0 down, and then decided to try and play football for 20 minutes. And they nearly got something out of it. Sides don't give a shit about playing us now. Now we're a scalp.
Yep.
We're a scalp to be had. And more often than not, sides are going to do to us what Leeds and what Forest did. Either sit back and park the bus and try to hit us on the counter, or press us in like Brighton did it as well. And plenty of sides are capable of doing that in this league. And unless there's serious investment in January and we get a bit of fortune with injuries that come back and people stay fit, I think we're in trouble of definitely missing out on top 4. I wouldn't I wouldn't be putting my hard-earned money on us reaching top 4 at the minute. Not on current form, not on the form we've had in the last 10 games. You just couldn't. You couldn't, in all good conscience, you couldn't turn around and say we're a top 4 side. I think we're a country mile off it at the minute.
Yeah. I mean, I'm of the belief that we've got the bones, like we've got the parts to do it. Like it just, the drop off in this team from a team that was, so close to immortality with winning a quadruple last season, and we were so good last season.
Yeah.
Like it's shitty currently, but don't let us cloud the fact that months ago, not years ago, months ago, the main core of this team was exactly the same, and they were doing the most wonderful and fantastic things. I can't wrap my head around how they can all get so bad at the same time so quickly. Like, it doesn't.
It must be it must be wrecking Klopp's head. It has to be.
Here's the thing, Kev. If our manager isn't Jurgen Klopp, our manager has been sacked by now.
Yeah.
After this game, this is the sort of game that gets a manager sacked. If it was Erik ten Hag coaching Liverpool and it was his first season, he would be sacked on current form, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that.
But I don't think FSG will sack Jurgen Klopp. He'll have to walk away.
No, Klopp has got plenty of credit in the bank.
Yeah, too much.
But you've got to give him. You can't allow Klopp to do what Wenger did.
Nope.
What Wenger did at Arsenal at the time was turn around and say, "I don't need XYZ player." You can't allow Klopp to do that. You have to turn around to him and say, "Look, the squad needs the age reduced. This needs to happen. Who do you want us to go and get? And we'll go and get it." That's what needs to happen. And the decision almost needs to be taken out of his hands and say, "Look, we're bringing in 2 or 3 players, and this is the list that we've built up. This is who we need to go. This is where we want to improve this team. What do you think?" But you almost have to. I don't think it would take much coaxing, because he's already come out and said, "Look, yes, I'd love more to be able to spend more, but
So I'm going to throw this comment up here from Ian McLaughlin that says, "I'm sorry, Matt, but we don't have the players now, as a lot of them are past their sell-by date." And I'm starting to come around to being on that same mindset. But we can't just get rid of them all. Like, we can't just say we're losing Milner, Chamberlain, and Keita in the summer. We need to get rid of Henderson. His legs are gone. Fabinho's totally gone. Thiago, he's never available. You can't get rid of 6 midfielders. And then also, oh shit, we're having some serious questions about Virgil van Dijk and Joel Matip's injury record. And is Joe Gomez really the answer? And I see somebody in here earlier saying, is it time to talk about getting a proper right back? And I mean, I presume you mean Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Like, are we at that point where we're going to be looking to pick up somebody that will offer us nothing going forward, but just helps us shore up the defense? Like, there has to be a few of these senior players that are going to be here for another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, there is.
Like, that's just the reality of it. And it's just a matter of trying to find the right ones that are able to mesh with a new team and some new players coming in, because I mean, there has to be somebody starting to come through the door in January at this point.
Oh, yeah.
This is almost like a Rubicon for FSG's ownership, I think.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because the questions, and like on our FSG show, like trying to find that divide of when are people complaining about FSG really mad at what Klopp and Julian Ward are doing, but they don't want to heap the blame on them. Julian Ward's in for some trouble. Yeah, he has no credit in the bank, really, with the fan base.
No.
So if there's going to be a sacrificial cow, it's almost certainly going to be him. But people don't want to, I don't want to blame Jurgen Klopp. And so you just deflect that and you say, the problem is FSG. When we don't know that FSG might be going, dude, go ahead, spend 150 million. We don't care. Like, you can spend the money.
Yeah, we don't know, because we'll, and until Klopp is finished and gone, we'll never know the inner workings of what's going on inside that club. We can only guess. But I'm at the stage now where we need to bring the age down, and they need to bring in. I still can't get over the fact that we haven't got a central midfield player who's aged between 22 and 27.
Yeah, it's a big gap.
It's the kind of thing. It's the energy that they provide. I mean, you saw it tonight with Leeds with Tyler Adams. He was everywhere. Aronson everywhere. Granted, they're kids, and you're away from home, and you're playing against a side who give you space to play in.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me who do we go out and get in January, you go out and you make Brighton an offer they can't refuse for Moses Caicedo, and you look at least you take a look at Harvey Barnes or players of that kind of ilk that have a ceiling where they can improve. But there are players out there that nobody can turn around and tell me there aren't players that we can get. Still playing for Klopp and playing for Liverpool is a massive deal. And when it comes to saying you want to, we need to start moving players on, yeah, we do. We know the players who are going to be going in the summer, but there definitely needs to be something happening between. Something has to happen in January, 100%, and they're going to have to put their money in their pocket and they're going to have to make it happen because it's still early in the season. It's still 20.
Well. Look who showed up.
Good evening, Joe.
Happy. Evening, Joe. Congratulations.
Congrats, mate.
Your boys played great.
Yeah. There's a song in that, Joe. I swear to God, there's a song in that. Tonight is a good night. Congratulations, mate. You guys came and did a hell of a job.
Yeah. Treat yourself to a new tracksuit, Joe. I'd say you've earned it. Look,
it is what it is. I mean, we just weren't good enough and we couldn't match their intensity.
No.
We got to figure out ways. And the thing is, we can't change the personnel between now and the January window. So we just got to suck it up and get on with what we got and find a way of staying in games. The one good thing at the minute is you can really heavily rotate for Napoli. Give players a break. Give players a few days off. Get away from football for a while and get ready for Tottenham because Tottenham were by the skin of their teeth pulled a late win out today against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So
that was disappointing.
You have to start looking forward now. Do whatever against Napoli. I don't care who plays. Just don't get anyone injured. And you just look to finish off the rest of this window of games as strongly as possible. Get a result against Spurs by hook or by crook, and then see where you are after that. I mean, there's going to be a lot of players there tonight that are going to be hurt on that result, and rightly so. They deserve to get pelters. But at the end of the day, I'm fucking sickened by it now. I really fucking am. I hate coming on these shows when after a loss, when deep down I know we didn't fucking deserve to get anything out of it. Nope. You can't dress it up any other way. You just got to say it as it is.
Nope.
But
no excuses. Of
course, there's no excuses. You can't give excuses because I looked at the lineup and I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. I was happy enough with the lineup and I was happy enough with who was playing. Yeah, the system could have been tweaked a bit differently, but that's nitpicking. Don't think it would have made any massive difference. Created enough chances, didn't score them. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, at least last week, you can kind of hang your hat on Virgil has those headers, and should be scoring and winning. That's tough luck, But this is just, I don't know. It seemed to compound all the issues that we've been having all season.
I just thought of something. Do you remember a few years ago when we battered Palace and then we went on a run where we couldn't fucking win it? We couldn't win an argument.
Yeah.
We battered Bournemouth and we've gone the same way. We spent all our eggs and bar the Newcastle win. This has been coming. This ripping the plaster off the wound has been coming, and it's taken till tonight for it to bear its fucking ugliness.
Yep.
And
the difference between this run and that run is that this run we have our superstar world-class center half, you know?
Yeah,
Virgil
but we don't have the forwards to make changes. That's the fucking problem. I looked at the bench.
No, that was coming into the end of the game. Like, I'm sitting there watching the game with my wife, and I was like, I don't know how we affect this game going forward off of our bench.
There was nothing.
Like Fabio Carvalho doesn't seem like
Patsy, we're not making excuses, lad. If you think we're making excuses, then I don't know what the hell you've been listening to.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think either of us have gotten anywhere even close to the realm of saying we deserved anything out of that game. We weren't
at best we created enough chances to force a draw because we limited them to skimpy chances, a gifted goal, and a shin off fucking tap in, toe poke, whatever you want to call it. They didn't exactly have to work fucking hard for it. That's not to say they didn't work hard through the game. They did. But we fucking gifted them their goals.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what sickens my whole over it, is they're self-inflicted fucking wounds.
Yeah. So, all around, not great. I mean, if there's any two positives to take out of it, I'm quite looking forward to the Fatback 4 tomorrow night. That should be quite interesting. And I'm also, in a strange way, really looking forward to the League Cup game against Derby, because I want to see some of these young kids. I hope that, Ben Doak might get a few minutes run out with the team. We might actually get to see Calvin Ramsey, playing a first-team game for Liverpool. I mean, that's pretty much about it. I mean, we got 4 games left until the break. So
I know some people are going over for that game, and they're really looking forward to it. And they know they're not going to see, like, the senior players. You're going to see the squad, and you'll see the under-23s that are coming through. But there is some talent to come through that. So that'll be a good game to, I suppose, watch with not nothing on it, but it's not the be-all and end-all of a game.
Yeah, it's a bit of a free hit. It's a bit of a free hit.
Don't say that. Gav will fucking wring your neck for saying that.
Oh, yeah? I just think that either which way, you can kind of explain away the result. If you go through, you're like, you only need to win 3 or 4 more games, and you can win the first trophy of the season. Or if you lose, you're like, at least we don't have to play those fixtures later on in the season.
Yeah. No, I forgot about that one, Jonathan. You're right. They did hit the bar as well. They that was early in the first half.
Oh, yeah. Harrison, I think that was, played it off.
Harrison put the ball across, and it was a deflection, I think. Trent got a nudge on Aronson to put him off just enough.
Yeah, when I first saw that, I thought it was poor defending by Trent, but I think it actually might have been good defending by Trent.
It was good defending. He couldn't affect the ball.
Yeah.
But he got just enough on Aronson to knock him off balance enough. But
look. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. But that was that. Yeah, I remember that.
So, I mean, I guess before we get out of here, we should try to pick a man of the match.
For us, it's easy. I mean, we both pretty much said this before we came out. It was Andy Robertson.
Yeah.
He bombed up and down the left. Defensively, he was fine. There was a bit of a thing at the end where they were saying that he left one on the keeper. I didn't see it like that, but
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, Robertson did everything bar take the chance that he had, but that's not his game.
Robertson had a shot on goal, 60th minute. Yeah. Curtis Jones had a good run. You thought he messed the chance up when he should have passed it to Firmino, but instead he played it square across the top of the box. Darwin dummied it, and Andy actually got a shot on goal. Now, it was directly at the keeper, but it was within the frame of the goal. So that's an improvement.
He's the only one that I could think of that you turn around and say, look, you can walk off the pitch. You did pretty much everything you bloody could. Yeah. He was the out ball all night. He put good crosses. He put decent balls into the box. He was comfortably man of the match. Comfortably. Yeah. I wouldn't even say there's honourable mentions for anyone else.
No. What do you think for the whole game? Who did you like from Leeds?
Tyler was good. Aronson looks a player. I don't think he'll be at Leeds long.
Yeah. No, it seems like
I don't think he'll be at Leeds long.
Yeah, a very good purchase it looks like that was for them. Yeah. I would give my man of the match to Crescencio Somerville, I think, just for sticking with it, because he did not have a great first half. He wasn't really getting at Trent, and Mo was kind of getting some of the ball, and we were trying to feed the ball to the right, and it looked like he was in trouble. And then they flipped them around for the second half. Their wingers, Harrison and Crescencio, switched sides, and he was there to take the chance at the end of the game. So,
look,
good on him not getting down.
Tom Boland is right. Like, Ilan Melia was he was the difference. You know, there were saves that he should make, but he still had to make them. And
They
the other side of
were
it is,
Allison like, where he was quick
Yeah.
off of his line and big, and his positioning was good, so that he didn't have to make a Ramsdale style save. I think you're laughing at that one from Jonathan.
the ball boy.
Yeah.
No, I think Ilya Melia is really highly thought of in France, especially. They see him as a future France number one.
He's got a lot of caps already.
He's got a lot of caps for the under 21s. He's still a really young keeper.
Yeah.
You know, very young. And the fact that Leeds have kept him, been able to keep him, it only stands them and him good stead going forward for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
But if you guys could do us a favor, just please hit the like button. It helps get the show seen by more people. It helps with the subscribing as well. It does help us out a lot. You know, it might not seem like it, but it really does. If you could do that, we would really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's just about enough fun for one evening. I don't know how much more of this I can take, Kev. This is pretty brutal.
Look, we've been spoiled for 4 or 5 years.
No kidding.
This is the gut churning part of football where we just got to suck it up and try and figure out a way to fucking make it work again.
Yeah. Man, I would have loved to have been doing reaction shows during those times. Holy shit, that would have.
That was the easy days. They were the easy
days.
days when you could come on and talk about all the good stuff.
Yeah, how fantastic we are.
Yeah. Now we're talking about all the shit show, but look, there's no point. I personally don't see any point in going mad this way, mad that way. I don't see the benefit personally, because it's just I get too fucking invested and I get too angry, and then I take it with me for days. I've had to stop that. I really had to stop that.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not good for anybody. It's not good for anybody. It's creating stress for yourself for no reason.
Yeah, you just look. We've got another game coming up in a few days. With Napoli, I think it's Tuesday night. Yeah, it's Tuesday night. We'll see what lineup he puts out. It'll be fresh faces, fresh legs, and we'll see some players.
First start.
Yeah, we'll see some players who haven't started for a while.
Yeah,
and we'll see how they get on. Look, Napoli won 4-0 today, so yeah. No, Sonny, I'm not going to blame Matt. I reckon I'm blaming Keith. Keith is sat at home watching it. Anytime Keith doesn't watch a game, we do fantastic.
Yeah, somebody needs to go over and cut the fiber optic line going into the Plunkett residence, and we'll be absolutely flying from there on in, I'm sure.
I'm letting my fucking beard grow as well again. Fuck it. I tried.
Yeah,
it failed.
Yeah, it's your fault. That's pretty much it from us. Head on over to weareliverpool.ie, see if they got any more of their Liverpool Day Tripper beanie hats left. If you're one of the lucky few to get their hands on some of those limited run toques, as we call them in Canada. Hit the like button on your way out, subscribe, bell icon, and all that sort of stuff. And we're going to get on out of here, and I'm going to continue drinking beers.
I'm going to
Kev, yeah. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, man.
And
Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.